Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. The Man Lens back again with another video. We have been inundated, if I have to say, inundated with camera news. But before we go any further, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Trying my best to create as much content as possible and keep it as informative as possible. So I think on the 20th, so today is the 22nd when I'm shooting this video. On the 20th, Fuji released or officially released a new camera, the GFX 100 RF. Yeah, RF just stands for range finder. And I was literally just thinking about it. I was like, why didn't Fuji, for example, made that camera full frame or made that sensor full frame? For a fact, we know that Fuji doesn't have a full frame camera. That's just something that they don't have in the arsenal, and they don't make. And I think for the foreseeable future, we won't be for the foreseeable future, we won't be seeing any Fuji full frame camera. And I think that just comes down to cost. And so many things are going to be involved. So don't expect a full frame camera unless it's in the rangefinder style like the Fuji GFX body, because I think in that regard, they don't have to develop a new mount and they don't have to develop new glasses or lenses. That's one thing that kills, or that's one thing that very, very hard to develop or to think about. Because okay, let's look at the Fuji mount, for example, the X mount. So it's a not a micro four foot. What am I saying? It's a APS-C crop sensor camera. So it's APS-C sensor that looks like this. You can see the size for yourself. And if Fuji were to make this sensor bigger, let's say the size of a full frame, they have to develop, first of all, they will have to develop a new mount because they can't fit a sensor 1.6 times bigger than this. So generally, the crop sensor on the crop factor on Fuji ones are like 1.5. I think some people say 1.4, but I just don't see the space available to fill up a full frame sensor here. So that's just impossible. That's just something that's physically will require them to go into R&D. And we know for camera companies, R&D is one of the biggest costs. And that's why you see companies sometimes literally using the same body on the same on different camera along like lines and lines. Look at the Sony, for example, and the same battery for years and years. Look at the Canon battery, that LPE battery that they still use right now on some of their smaller camera, as well as like the beefier one they use on the R5 and all the other camera. So developing a new sensor as well is very, very expensive because first of all, you need to acquire the sensor. You need to put your, I think for Fuji, maybe developing a new sensor will be not so expensive, but going full frame, the expense will definitely come into the lens lineup and maybe the adoption as well, because people generally love the Fuji because they're very small yet super powerful. I have two that I use and they're just about enough for everything that I do. I wish they were a little bit bigger sensor. I wish they would take a little bit more light, but they're just limited there. And when you work with Fuji, you accept the limitation. I think this is one camera brand where you go into it, you already know that there are this type of limitation in terms of the sensor size and so forth and so on. So that's one thing that I think it just prevents Fuji from developing 35mm sensor, like a full frame sensor. So that one thing that I wanted to talk about today, because the GFX 100 RF is probably the best bet to try to get into developing full frame cameras. And it's probably going to be a little bit cheaper, and but offer you all of those Fuji things that you expecting, you know, like the simulation, maybe better video, and maybe they can put let's say IBIS on that camera because it's going to be a smaller sensor. And because it's going to be sold, it's already like a all-in-one camera where you don't need a lens. It's going to be a package that is probably going to be a little bit more affordable. And that's actually a very, very good idea. I mean, it's a very big assumption, obviously, but it's a very good idea because I personally think that it's much more feasible than Fuji releasing a full frame camera where you have to be doing lenses as well. I think that one thing that is kind of gotten a lot of people switching from Canon to all other camera brands because Canon still is locking up the RF mount and doesn't have a lineup of a lot of lenses. They have better lineup obviously when they started, but you see, compare for example to I'm saying Fuji, compared to Sony for example, and even Nikon, who has opened the Z mounts to other manufacturer. Canon can't really, the RF mount is very exclusive to Canon user and it lends itself to pushing a lot of people away from the brand. So with Fuji, they can bypass that if they create a rangefinder body like a X100 series or a GFX 100 series, just like they just created, and slap in maybe let's say a 28 or 24 equivalent lens that like f 2.5 or f2, like a very fast lens. That's definitely something that the brand can look at. Maybe they are patent somewhere for that already. I don't know, but this is just a wish and speculation at the same time. So amazing though to see that GFX 100. I've done a sort of impression about the camera on my channel, so I would wish for you to go watch it and just tell me what you think about it. I'll see you in the next one, and peace out.